major developments when it comes to this upcoming hurricane season that I want you to know about. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice, keeping you up to date on all things tropical. I've got my eyes peeled on the Atlantic Basin with brand new information that shows a few hot spots that we need to watch in the coming days over the Caribbean into the Gulf that could mean some early development that we got to keep a close eye on, and new signs that as we get deeper into hurricane season here, some eyes that I need to be watching toward the Atlantic with what this pattern is showing me. So if you're new to this channel, please let me know where you're watching from. Share this with your family and friends that have interest along the coast as we go into this hurricane season. And really, after what we've faced the past couple of years, I know everybody wants to be dialed in on what's going on. First things first, let's talk about that pattern, because as we move into hurricane season, we need to watch what's happening here. La Nina versus El Nino. You hear it all the time. Well, basically, it's patterns in the upper parts of the atmosphere that originate from the way the Pacific water temperature is. Well, a La Nina year usually means the jet stream is more retreated toward the north, away from any kind of tropical development here. So what that would mean is the possibility of a more active hurricane season because there's not a jet to really kind of tear it up. The opposite is true during an El Nino year. You have a persistent kind of helper for us, if you will. That helper tries to tear apart hurricanes or tropical systems before they get going. That said, this year upcoming, we're in a La Nada here. There is not a El Nino or a La Nina defined. So that is something we have to keep a close eye on. Something I want to bring to your attention as we move forward here is the fact that as we move into this hurricane season, as I look back at the data, 2015 to 2023, we had our first named storm before June 1st. 2024 kind of broke that. We didn't have anything till later in the year. The average first named storm is usually June 21st. So we've got to watch this very, very closely. And we have the premier, so to speak, experts at tropical weather. It's Colorado State University. They've released their prediction for the 2025 year, and they're going 17 named storms, 9 hurricanes, and 4 major hurricanes. This, compared to last year, is very close, okay? But like we say, you could have 4 major hurricanes in the middle of the ocean that never touch land. All it takes is one. Ask the folks about Hurricane Andrew that year. We had a very slow hurricane season. All it took was one, right? So looking at that, let's kind of dive into the data. Let's look closer at what could be coming this year as a whole. And right now, when I look at the Atlantic Basin, not much is cooking right now, as you would expect. But as we know from history's past, more likely than not, we are to get a named storm before the official start in June. So that means things will need to start cooking in the next few weeks. So how does that happen? Well, what happens here is you get old frontal boundaries that settle right in here in the Gulf and to the Caribbean, and we can get some mischief to form in that area. The Caribbean's a hot spot right now. The water's usually warm. That's why everybody loves to vacation there, right? So that's what we have to look out for. But when you look closer at INSO, or what the National Weather Service, or NOAA, has been kind of diving into, they've got a whole portfolio. You want to read it? It's 32 pages long. I'm going to tell you the highlights of it here. So the outline all the way through. Basically, we're analyzing the departure of temperatures in the Pacific to spit out what are we going to get this hurricane season. All of that to scroll down here toward the bottom of their briefing here to talk about the Oceanic Nino Index. Where are we going? You got the El Nino years, you've got the La Nina years, and then you've got the La Nada years broken down all the way into this area. So now we can kind of get a forecast. All that to this, okay? This was just updated here. Now it's a little bit different to read, but if you look at March, let's see, going into the season here, we've got a better chance that as we go into June, July, August, September. I had to get my bearings here. June, July, August, you've got this bar right here, which is neutral. So going into June, July, and August, our peak of hurricane season, right? Into July, August, September, there's a much greater chance, a double than not chance, that we're either in a La Nina or a La Nada. No El Nino. You would really want to have El Nino. All right. If we get El Nino in winter, we get more snow in the south, right? That's something we need to look forward to here in November, December, January, because it looks like El Nino is trying to catch back up. Nonetheless, here, there is no sign simply put, of any kind of El Nino to help us out this year. So if that's the case, we need to look toward the hot spot. So what is the oceanic heat content right now as we speak? So an analyst of that just basically tells you, where is there an open can of gasoline sitting right now? It is in the typical trouble spots here of the Caribbean. This water is so warm that if we get a disturbance to form in here, that we would have the potential that it could blow up into a tropical system. That said, with the warm weather that we've had across the southeast here lately, there is a little bubble here across the Gulf that we need to keep an eye on. If anything gets going there, maybe an old frontal boundary that lies here across Florida, we could get a little tropical system to form here. That's where I think we're vulnerable, not only now, but as we go into the summertime. This area, should it be left to its own devices, we would have the ability to create some trouble. Where I see us possibly seeing a silver lining here this hurricane season is the fact that the sea surface temperature anomaly, where we're looking at compared to normal. Where do we sit right now compared to where we typically are on any given year? Well, we're quite a bit below normal here. You see the blues here across the sea surface temperatures off the coast of Africa. That's part of the main development region. The rest of the Atlantic's pretty warm in the typical spots that stay warm. Now, these are more driven by short-term weather patterns. You get a big warm up across the southeast, the Gulf is going to warm up more dramatically. It adjusts more to the current weather pattern than just maybe as a whole. All right, so these will flip a switch on you pretty quickly in the Gulf, whereas out here, the water's so deep that, a colder than average water temperature by, 1, 2, 3 degrees, that could be something that helps us out at least in the near term. As we get into August and September, this is probably going to adjust. It's still going to be warm enough to give us development, but the fact that it's not as warm and juiced up, this time last year, we had an ocean temperature that was way above normal, 2, 3, 4 degrees above normal. Right now, it's sitting a bit below normal. So that is something that is at least going to help us out. So where do we go over the next week to 10 days? Is there anything cooking? Well, as I look at the Bermuda High, I look at anything here, there's not much going on. Lowering pressure here across the Bay of Campeche region of the Gulf, gotta watch it. Got to watch it. That's kind of my area that I think we need to watch moving forward. And if any fronts get off the coast right here, could that form anything? Here's the GFS going deeper out into Mother's Day weekend. I don't see anything playing spoiler, maybe some rain across the Gulf. I don't see anything forming tropical-wise. You see a couple of blips here. There's in 1003. There's that area I told you about, the Caribbean, that we need to pay close attention to for my folks watching there. Let me know where you're watching from. Type it in the comment section. I'd love to know. That's where we could start to get some action. Notice toward I get the end of this. Here we are now. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 trouble spots on our ensembles trying to show up here. Now that's 1 or 2 of the models out of 30 that are picking up on something trying to form here. And it just tells me as I get deeper into May, we could have some mischief in those areas I told you about are trouble spots. How about the European model? Let's look that out. Not much cooking all the way through the 10th, but as we get deeper into the end of the month, look at this. You've got a similar signal here from the European model. In the Caribbean, you could have a little something trying to scoot up. Now, as I told you, looking at data, history, 9 out of the past 10 years have started early. As we look at the Caribbean, ouch, we could have some development that starts a little bit early in that area that could be a problem. As far as the ensembles are concerned, they don't get much hyped about it, but if you look at all 51 models averaged together, they do show a low-end chance here toward May 15th, 16th, toward the end of the month that we could get a little tropical development going. So it doesn't look to be, giant monstrous, but it does give me some signs that we need to keep a close eye on that. And folks, my commitment to you is all the way through hurricane season to keep you posted. So please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications. Should anything be issued or any kind of development be on its way, I'll be the first to let you know. And I really like to know where you're watching from. Let me know in the comments section what city, what town, what country you're watching from, and I promise we'll keep you posted here through hurricane season.